what's going on with my body? Why do I feel all this pressure? How do I fill in the blank? Am I good enough? Am I thin enough? Am I this enough? Am I, all the things. I want to say something before we start.
Yeah.
I want to say two things, probably three things actually. First, I want to thank you, Zoe, for everything, truly, and for gathering us tonight and for making this happen. So thank you so much. And yeah, so thank you. I also want to say, I was just actually talking to somebody about this last week, how they were saying how libraries are having a renaissance right now, and that gave me a lot of hope, because the libraries in general, this is the heartbeat of a community, this is a heartbeat of our society too, and so the fact that we're gathering here, it's a Monday night too, we're all busy, we all have things to do, we're at the library. This is incredibly meaningful to me and to Maura, but also I think doing this is our civic duty, and it's meaningful to the town in which we live in and the region, so thank you for being here for that.
And thank you for roping me into this.
Yes, and I also just want to say thank you for doing this with me, my best friend, Maura.
So a lot of these questions I might ask, I think I know already, but you wouldn't. So I want, that's how I was going to start. Really, as your friend, I've seen this whole, watch you go through the massive highs and lows of writing and this whole process for your first book. And I was extremely proud. And I know some of it was quite difficult, but there was also enjoyable times. Could you, elaborate on that for us?
Yes. Thank you for asking that. And one more thing too, thank you for coming out tonight. I just want to say that again. But yeah, that's a cool place to start, because I have, for so many people in this room who I'm lucky to say know me and I know you, it's been a dream since I was, so it was like 10 years old that I wanted to write, that I wanted to be a writer. I remember actually being at dinner with you at Tosca, and we bumped into our English teacher, Mrs. Lawrence, and I said all I wanted was to have one article published.
Yeah.
And so that was the dream. And now here I am talking about this, and yeah.
It's amazing.
So I love that you asked that, because it was incredibly hard. There was nothing easy, and you know this, but there was nothing easy about writing this book, and I wish we talked about that more in general, because I don't want people to I don't think people do, but whenever I know that somebody has written a book, I think, okay, that means hours in isolation, that means hours kind of with your thoughts, that means hours of self-doubt, and so the lows were really intense. I had to overcome massive self-worth and self-doubt at the beginning. I sold the idea to the publisher, and the whole time, the whole first month and a half, and you know this, Maura, I was literally thinking they made a mistake. I kept thinking, okay, do they mean me, or do they mean somebody else? And also, this is parallel with a lot of what the book's about. I thought, who am I to write a book, right? Who am I to tell my story?
Why not?
Right, exactly. And then I got over that, and I realized I'm hoping, one fraction of this huge conversation we're having about being a woman today.
Right.
And so, and then the highs were interviewing some of my best friends for the book, and carrying the women in my life with me when I wrote the book, and talking to dozens and dozens of women for the book, and and now here we are. It's amazing.
Segue into, that was one of my other questions, because you've spent so much time, interviewing women, and really smart women, and accomplished women, and from doctors to therapists and all, throughout the book. What's a story or something that really resonated with you and shifted your perspective about being 40?
Yeah. There's one through line that was a story that I witnessed as I was interviewing all these women, which was, it surprised me every time how much women do want to talk about this and want to share this. And by this, I mean, what's going on with my body? Why do I feel all this pressure? How do I fill in the blank? Am I good enough? Am I thin enough? Am I this enough? Am I, all the things. If we're moms, I am not a mother in the conventional sense. We'll talk about that later, but I'm not a mother, but I still feel so much pressures around justifying the fact that I'm not a mother. And if you are a mother, as you are, and you share so intimately with me, am I doing enough, as a mother for my kids? Am I doing all these things? But what surprised me is we live in this seemingly progressive time, I think we've gone so far, we have so much farther to go too. But we're in this progressive time, and still we need to share about this. We still have so much more to go. I hope a book like this isn't needed for younger generations someday.
But I do wish I read this when I was 30.
Yeah,
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think I wouldn't have cared so much about things, and the beauty, the standards, and all these things that don't matter. Maybe we could talk about that, and like the whole beauty inventory. You know, that you said you kind of go down and think, what really serves me, and why am I doing this? Do I feel good doing this? And you know, so I liked that whole chapter about why do I feel I have to get Botox? Why do I feel I, need to color my hair? And for who? And who says that that's the standard and needed? Yeah. Really.
It's a completely made up, fabricated, manufactured story. And
my hair looks good. Thank you.
I got a little Botox before. Just kidding. For those of you who aren't familiar with the book, it's I anchor it in the decade of the 40s. It's really about being a woman, and I've been having conversations with women in their 20s as much as I have with women in their 60s, 70s who say there's parts that relate to them. But I architected the book. Each chapter really focuses on one big life element or life topic, and they kept coming to the forefront when I was interviewing women. Beauty expectations is a huge one, and then we talk about motherhood, partnership, work, our health. But beauty is a fascinating one because, especially as we get older too, there's so much pressure, and as women, and it's the way we look, the way we carry ourselves in the world. We're taught that that's our currency, and we're taught that it has to be a specific way. And then if you really start to, and it was a very intense, I felt a lot of rage when I was working on the beauty chapter because I started to really see these are, again, stories. We're up against these ideals that are telling us that beauty is this, and it has to be bought and maintained and fixed. And it doesn't. It's inherent in everyone. But it was, hi Matt. But what Maura's talking about is these, I am not one to say do this and don't do that. No. I'd be a hypocrite.
You don't say that in the book.
I don't. I'm saying everything
makes you feel good.
But do what makes you feel good versus feeling like you are reacting to this expectation and reacting to, oh my gosh, you start to see something changing on your face. If you want to change that's great, but make sure you're doing it for yourself rather than this fabricated societal ideal. Yeah. So it's a big one, and I think that there's parallels with so many other things in our life.
And then at the same time, I think, even in Hollywood, the movies, women who hit their 40s aren't up for roles. I was thinking about that too. That brought up, or in the same type of roles, I guess. And I don't know. I just thought that was came to mind when I was reading it.
And so that's a fun reason why I anchor the book in the 40s again, because I am in my mid 40s now, so it's very specific to my life and many of our lives in this room. But it's also the tipping point in a sense. 40 has been for so long that year. Like, oh, you're 40? Yeah. It's just it's that sticky point. And you're either, I say for women, you're either in front of it or behind it. Yeah. And if you're on the other side of 40 in your 40s, the world starts getting pretty harsh. It's like, it's a push out year at work.
Yeah, a push out year.
Hollywood, all these things. Yeah. At the same time though, for those of us in our 40s, we can say, there's a lot of cool stuff that starts happening. There's a lot of hard stuff too. Yeah. But for me, this was the time I just started realizing I just want to put these stories down. I don't want to carry this. I never wanted to carry it, but I don't want to carry it anymore. And then I started talking to other women. They were saying, I actually kind of found my voice, myself, my autumn queen, as I say in the book, in my 40s. So it's this real electric time where so many things intersect. Again, society is brutal and mean. At the same time, the reality is we're kind of declaring ourselves in this time. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we have a question. Yes,
Alex, go ahead.
So as we all know, the German composer and conductor Johannes Brahms didn't compose his first symphony until the age of 42. Oh. And then promptly burned it in his fireplace because he felt unworthy to be composing after Ludwig van Beethoven in the age of classical music. So my question
She burned her bra.
And there was like Virginia Woolf.
Yeah.
And a number of French existentialist authors who broke open, wide open, being female in a patriarchal techno dystopia. How did you find the courage to come out and publish this book instead of just hiding under
Good
the
question.
cover of anonymity?
Yeah?
I was so close, Alex, too. So thank you for asking that, my friend, because I was really close. When I was talking about that first month and a half of feeling as though they made a mistake and feeling unworthy, I really, really, really was so close. It was almost fetal position. I was just thinking, who am I to say this? And the reason why I broke through it was, one, a deadline. So I realized, some chapters were due. Always has helped me in my career as a journalist. And two, for every person in this room, and times a million. And again, this is not saying this is the book that's going to change women's lives. This is, there are other books I think that can claim that title, but this is again a small sliver of this conversation. And Alex, I kept thinking, it was funny, I kept thinking of this woman. I haven't met this woman, but I feel as though she's all of us. For some reason, I think she lived in Minnesota when I was envisioning her. Sometimes she lived in Alaska. But I envisioned her feeling like I felt for so long. She was on the couch, she was alone, she was doubting herself, and she just needed some companionship. And I think that's what books give us, just like music. So I'm glad he continued making music even after he burned it, because the burning to me sounds like an ego-focused thing, and I think the following through is a soul-focused thing. And so I felt that for myself. Thank you for asking that, Alex. Yeah.
Well, bring it another topic. I felt it was amazing to see some of the private moments that maybe I knew, and maybe a handful of other people, but you put it out there. That, I think, alone, I wish I, could be that courageous. And you wove it so beautifully through the book. How did you gain that courage to do that and tell some of these really personal stories? That is the beauty of having a really, really good editor, for sure. Yeah. Because that was actually another part of the journey of the self-worth too. So I love what I do for work, but my work focuses on other people's stories. I hand the microphone to other people, I interview other people, I buoy their stories. I love it, it's an honor. This was a shift. And when originally I talked to the publisher, they did want parts of me in this book to kind of carry it along, and the idea came from my experience. But every manuscript draft, my editor, and I wish she were here right now, she's the best. She kept saying, more of you, or art, want a little bit. I would maybe tease some, idea from my life, and she would say, we need to bring this through, and you're not going there enough. You're not going there enough. So she really, really, really pushed me. I'm this is up to the reader to decide, but there's some unpretty parts in there for sure. But I don't know a life that's not. No. So hopefully, That's what I really loved about it. And then, the whole chapter on mothering. First of all, when I read that first part, the hook of that chapter was an experience that we both experienced. My mother was there when you came to visit that time. Oh my gosh. If anyone's read it, that chapter about her coming to my house with having a big bite of a cheeseburger, and then my 6-year-old at the time was like 2, 3. All hands on deck, norovirus, projectile vomiting. So I had just flown in. She's like, okay, get the supplies. It was, and I just have to say, again, my friends here too, who are moms, like I have such endless admiration and respect, and I honestly, and we can talk about this, I have a lot of, I have no regret over not having children, but I have a lot of grief around it, and I want to be a mom, and I feel like I am a mom to Nora and Eva in a lot of ways. But that particular night, I had just flown in from the West Coast, as I usually do, first stop, Maura's house. And, well, we had to stop at Five Guys. We stopped at Five Guys. Matt stopped at Five Guys for us, got me a bucket of fries and burgers, and I got into the house, and it was like a battle zone. It was literally, Nora came running up going, Eva's sick.
I'm sorry if anybody's going to dinner after this, but projectile vomit from out of this little body in a way I've never seen happen. And then 3 minutes later, projectile vomit out of another.
I don't do well with
and
this.
I'm sitting there, and Maura is going, no! Like literally running back and forth.
I don't do well.
And I'm not, I think right
Get
now,
the towels.
I'm just going to stay here. I think I'll know when I'm needed. And I did have a bite of my
She
cheeseburger.
ate
'cause I've
her
been crying all day
cheeseburger
long.
while this was going on.
So it was just, I've learned
And then I
everything
couldn't
about
eat the
mother.
rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
She was visiting.
But it's fun though, because Maura is a big anchor of the motherhood chapter, and you were so giving in your stories and your honesty, and I love that part too, because that chapter I will say from my perspective as a woman without children, I have felt for a long time that there's two camps, the women with kids and the women without kids. And I don't like that.
I don't
we're
like
all
that
women,
either.
and
No.
we're all in this village together. We're all doing this together.
Yeah.
And you've never made me feel that
It doesn't
way.
make you have just as, like I said in the book,
Yeah.
just as busy, stressful,
Yes,
and
you do.
important
Yeah.
life,
Thank you.
you know?
Thank you.
So,
But I that chapter was, every chapter is meaningful, but that one I wanted to kind of try to weave as many stories as possible together. And Maura shared her story. I have a dear friend who's been trying to get pregnant for years and years and years and just isn't able. All of our stories of why we have children, why we don't, they're endless.
Yeah.
It's so personal, and yet society likes to go, do you have kids? You're your mom? Like kind of reduce us to what we are and are not. And then
and you
at
got
the
that question a lot,
Yeah, I
which
got that
makes,
question a lot.
and still, and you get
Yeah.
this uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And how do you explain it? It's
Yeah.
it's not just a quick answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you for sharing your story in that.
I loved that. When I read that, I even gave it to Nora. I'm like, read this. You can read this part.
But one more note on that as well, and I also think the conversation around motherhood, having and not having children, I wish we were having it a little bit more too out in the open, because as I said, there's loss, there's grief in my experience, and I do feel there's elements of that in every woman's experience, whether you have children or not.
You have children.
Your old self, your present self, what you surrender in the face of having children, not having children, all these things. And the kind of the anchor of it is we need to mother ourselves, which we just do not do enough, but we need to mother ourselves first.
And like you say, I mothered you that time. She was really busy, probably working on the book. I don't even know. And she called me kind of stressed. She's like, I know I'm supposed to come.
I was supposed to come.
She was supposed to come to visit. And I said, no, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
This is not a good time. You need to. Don't come. And I didn't mean it like I don't want to see you, but you were like, thank you. I feel like you're my mother right now.
And I called Maura back right after. I said, you just mothered me.
Mothered me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm receiving that a lot from you.
Yeah. Oh.
We can all mother each other.
Yeah.
We can all
Well, you said you feel like you mother your mother at times.
I definitely do.
You do. You mother Lynn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know what else. I mean, right now I'm just excited for you and helping you publicize the book with the girls. But I'm just looking forward to what are you writing next, too. That's what I don't mean to like rush to that, but I'm excited. What's next?
Being
50.
Somebody told my husband recently that he should write a book, Being 50, Acting 20. We just told him that, so that might be the next one. It was funny. I got a fascinating comment from a woman yesterday. I was down in Plymouth doing a little event, and she said, your book's really fascinating. I started reading it, and I have one note. She said, the cover. I think if you just change the cover. She was very audacious and so lovely. Thank you, Iris, wherever you are. And she's like, and she was really serious. She's like, if you just talk to the publisher and change the cover, because I'm not in my 40s, and I really like this book. So that's my only note. Congratulations. And will you sign it for me? And it was so I don't know. I hope I get to write another book. But I will say, again, this has been, I've been having such a good time. I made a pact with myself when I went out and was going to be talking about this. Again, I'm not a famous author by any means. I am a scrappy, I work my butt off, as we all do in this room. And I am so grateful of anybody showing up to support this endeavor. And we're all together right now.
I know, it's nice.
But again, this kind of loops back to originally what we were talking about, is just, I want to do more of this, whatever this be, and gathering more, and not
Getting
in a
the
Pollyanna-ish
conversation
way, but being
started,
together.
yeah.
And Aaron and Phyllis, when I saw you walk in earlier today, and I'm thinking, the reason why. So Aaron and Phyllis own the stables, and many of you have been to those stables where I kept my horse and learned to ride, but became a woman because of what I learned from you. And it's not only your warmth and your hearts, but it was a place for us to be who we are. And we don't have enough places like that right now.
I know.
And it's always we're going and coming and doing all
And
these
trying
things,
to
but
be
we don't
someone that we
have-
think we need to be.
And just places of real safety
Yeah.
and nourishment and soul nourishment. And so I want to do more of, I hope this book sparks more of that for whoever needs it. And thank you again for giving me that place. So
I know we didn't really talk about work though, but that's a topic that, for women. And then I think of your friend with her book, Ambition Trap, right?
Yeah.
And I found that fascinating.
Yeah.
Once I feel like when you're younger, you think, I got to get the right job and do what my parents expect or whatever I'm supposed to do. And then you get a little older and you're like, no, I need the work-life balance. And I'm happy I work totally remote. And it is a blessing to be able to have that kind of flexibility with my family.
I mean, work in a lot of ways is almost, you could say, I think there's parallels with the beauty. You're never doing it enough. You're never doing enough. You're never doing it the right way. You're told that you have to do these things by this certain time.
Yes.
And if you haven't, all these
checking the boxes, as you said.
All these stories, totally with work. And I'm proud when we talk about work. I'm proud when I come across women who are proud of their work.
Yeah.
But I also I don't want that to be.
It doesn't define you. I don't think. Right.
Too.
I don't think work defines you.
Right. And if you're building some incredible career in the corporate world, just as much as if you're working 3 jobs to kind of whatever it may be, there needs to be pride in your life for you are, because at the end of the day, we are working to put food on the tables. We're working to live.
And then people have their hobbies on the side.
Yeah. We can find
things that you
creativity.
Right. Outlets.
Outside of work. I think the follow your passion conversation has a wonderful component to it, but I also think it can be very privileged because not everybody can do that. And I don't want.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then I know we need to talk about our autumn queen.
I love being in conversation with you.
It's easy.
I have my autumn queen boots on.
I know you do. And I mean, it's at the beginning of the book. Could you explain, if any, I know not everyone's read the book yet, but who is your autumn queen?
I'm so curious. Has anyone ever heard of the autumn
that term?
queen?
She didn't. It came from you. I know you'll explain it.
Okay, that's so cool. I have to ask you. I had never heard of it.
I had never. No. And I want to know why it's autumn. It's a good. It's a great time of year.
So, I don't know. So the autumn queen is for.
That's why I like it instead of winter queen. I don't know.
The winter goddess. Maybe. But in mythological storytelling, there's the classic, that trifecta that makes up the goddess, and it's maiden, mother, crone, and it's these traits and energies that loosely correspond with a woman's age. And I say loosely because you can kind of embody these traits and energies at a time in your life that maybe doesn't correlate with the age specifically. But what I mean by this is the maiden, and I'm sure you've heard of this, but the maiden loosely correlates to a younger woman. She's blossoming, she's blooming. The mother is the time in your life where you're procreating and you're nurturing and you're giving. And then the crone is the wiser old woman that other
sounds
women.
So awful.
But what's fascinating though is they're all incredible and they're all amazing, but they're limiting in a lot of ways too. And they're not. And so what patriarchal storytelling, and again, the book is not very heavy on the mythological, but there's just a kind of fun trace throughout it.
Yeah.
But what mythological storytelling has done is put women into crone too early, and crone is amazing.
Yeah. And
particularly late 30s and our 40s. They've kind of pushed us into crone. They don't have this archetype for us. And so this incredible women's coach, Steph Jagger, when she said it, she goes, we are the autumn queen. In our 40s, we are actually phenomenally powerful.
Yeah.
We come into this new well
Come
of
into our own,
creativity,
yeah.
our knowing, our I'm not going to take
I
it
don't,
anymore.
yeah, I'm not putting up with
Yeah.
things. I don't care about stuff as
So
much
that's
as I used
our
to.
autumn
Yeah.
queen. It's,
I know,
you
I love
and
that.
So, and I like it too. And again, we can be in crone phase and still call up our autumn queen. Like it doesn't have to correlate to age, but it's cool because
It's a
I've
nice
been
thing to, yeah.
channeling her lately. I'm like, oh, what is my autumn queen? It's almost kind of like your most powerful, creative, fiery whole self.
Right.
And I think about, I literally envision her too. I think about what does she wear? How does
Levi's.
she wears Levi's. Yeah.
Boots.
How does she act in these situations if she's being tested? You know, what does she believe in? How does she carry herself? And it can be helpful. And then also it can just make you feel good too.
Right.
So,
No, I love it. Because I had not heard that before, and it's throughout the book. I loved that part. Yeah. So.
Thank you so much, Maura.
Was it? Oh, we're okay. We're good. Are we done? High five. That was awesome.
Do we?
Any questions?
Any questions?
Open it up to questions.
It's a bit of a hacking question. You talked about having children versus not having children, and I think when you're friends with people, like you can have those open conversations. But I think so much of it is this or that, and so how do you? I struggle to be like, sharing mine with. I don't have children, but like I really like to travel, and how do I share my wins without making a woman feel like their choices aren't the right choices. Like there are times where I'll be like, yeah, no, I don't want kids.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing that someone else wants kids.
Yeah.
Like how do you can have that conversation with friends, but what about when you're not friends yet?
Yeah. I say share it loudly, and I feel as though if somebody can't receive that, that is probably some fear in storytelling that they're carrying, but that's unfortunate and it's hard, but I say share it loudly. I also say that too because there's a lot about friendship in this book, female friendship, and I find that of course we always need that, but really maintaining friends, nurturing friends, but then making new friends too in our 40s. And I found personally that I've come up against sometimes where I will connect with women, but we're having different experiences in life, really because maybe she has 2 young kids and her schedule's kind of off and I don't have kids, and I have felt a lot of guilt from that. And I've noticed myself that was just something I was carrying, that a lot of times, maybe our schedules just aren't compatible, but I have found I have had such deep and new friendships with women. I just moved to a new city a year and a half ago, and I kind of write about my experience feeling lonely when I moved there.
Yeah.
And I have connected with women, and a lot of these women have children, and I was just flat out honest too, when I just saying, kind of talking about how can we really get together and do some of these things and talk about this more and figure out a way to make our schedules work too. Yeah. And I'm kind of going off on a tangent about my own experience with that, but I say be loud about it. And I don't know, I think when you are loud about it, you find your people, and people are drawn to you, and they're like, hell yeah, and they want to hear that. And then again, for the women who maybe don't, it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't mean you're not being kind too, right? And I think they'll come around. But yeah, there's an element, I'm hoping, if anything, this book just makes somebody feel that they don't have to apologize for anything. If you're living your life and you're being kind, and I know you are, and I know we don't know each other, but I know you are, I don't want you to feel like you have to apologize for none of us want to feel like we have to apologize for anything, but particularly about these massive, massive things in our life. So, yeah, thanks for asking that.
I think Matt has a question.
Just kidding. I'm kidding. Okay. Alex, do you have another question?
I just feel bad monopolizing.
Alex, you can monopolize all my time. Are you kidding? But you're not.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Please, my friend. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, in Notes on Camp, the postmodernist literary critic Susan Sontag talks about the war on work of art. You talked about the commodification of beauty in women in particular.
Yes.
I think that in her Charles Eliot Norton lectures at Harvard University in 2021, the performance artist Laurie Anderson talked about creating safe spaces. And when I met her and had a chance to grab with her firsthand, what struck me most was her beauty.
Oh.
And the space to be beautiful and feel safe simultaneous is a precious commodity, which is protected by people who come together in community and celebrate your work of art. So I don't have a question. I'm just
An observation and a
Yeah.
reflection,
So,
which is, thank you.
was a good.
I thought that,
Thank you,
I thought
Alex.
that checklist that you mentioned was helpful in book, because I do think that's
Checking the boxes.
checking the boxes, because even if people have done the things that are on the checklist, there's like a certain aspect of like, if I had, what's the difference? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
getting married, buying a house, and then people have a tendency to ask you like, when you're doing those things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really think it's like, people like make it fun of their business, like you right now have a baby, I'm like, what my wife and I do is really, I think that people have this expectation, and I think that this book goes a long way towards kind of
Breaking that down.
people that, it's not anyone else's business.
Yeah.
As long as you're not hurting anyone else and you're being pleasant, and I don't mean pleasant in the fact that you're friendly to everyone, but just not outwardly projecting negativity. I don't really think those things are good business. And I found a lot of great affirmations from that.
Thank you, Matthew. And thank you. And I mentioned my dad in the book,
Yep.
who is
Yep.
a man, obviously, and my father felt such the weight of
Yeah.
expectation in his own way too. And so
Yeah.
this is obviously very focused on
Providing
yeah.
and thinking he was doing the right thing.
Doing
and
all the
then-
right things
And
and
your
all of
mother,
that.
your mother still
Yeah,
left.
Of
And,
course.
I mean, that was a
Yeah.
good,
You talk about the baby mama.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it fit beautifully in
Yeah.
the book, and the way you have accepted and have it, what I see as a great relationship now with
Yeah.
her.
We have worked on that.
They
Yeah.
really have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you, Matt.
No, I do think that it bugs me, because even like, I have like, people will say like, I have like a friend that lives in like Canada, he's always been thinking about moving in apartments. Like, it's such a weird thing to say, like, that's the crime, like, a lot of people don't want to live in apartments.
Yeah.
People want to walk at things. I would
Yeah.
want to live in an apartment, because I we have kids, it's better, but, like, if I had my.
You don't have to have a house
In
and-
a walkable city where I don't have to get in the car to go to get, like out and go and stuff like that. I just think that people have these preconceived, and especially, well, like, this is a person that used to live in an apartment, now they live in a massive house, and they're like, why would you want to live in an apartment? Like, because that's just how some
Easier.
people live.
Yeah.
It's not really that's your perspective of life that you're pushing out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And your idea of like, if,
I remember,
For a question place, that's one thing, but when this predetermined judgments that take place on everything.
Yep.
and you know, it comes,
Yeah.
that reminds me of something a friend of yours actually said to me when we were younger. I don't even think we were married. And he was like, Maura, what's your 5-year plan? Like he had already gotten married.
Yeah.
He had little kids. So and now he's not doing well. So there you go. And I said, I don't have a 5-year plan really yet. But
you don't? No. Yeah.
oh,
And one more note too, and thank you, Courtney, but one more note too is that I love that this is not and we know this, but still it's not a men versus women, women versus men thing as well. Like
No.
these ideas and expectations of patriarchy.
I like
it's
that you brought
crushing
your
everyone.
father into
It's
it.
hurting everybody.
Yeah, it
so,
is.
But, hi Courtney.
Well, there's pressures on everyone.
So where do you go from here in this, like your, like tour kind of, and how can we support you? Like what?
Oh, yeah.
Love that question. Love that.
Thank you. Thank you. You have been so supportive.
And you have been.
Thank
No,
you.
well, we'll get there.
You have.
But I haven't had a chance to read it. I'm so excited. I wanted to be here, obviously, to support you. But like, how can we? Where are you gonna be? I know you're on the Today Show.
I
You're
know.
on these big things. So next, what's happening for you?
So I thank you so much for asking that. I am actually going to be back in Seattle and going to kind of wind down this chapter of it too. I've been on the road for quite a bit actually since it came
You
out
need a
in
break.
May. But it's really fun. But then I'm going to be doing another event in Seattle and doing an event in LA. So I've got some things kind of spread out through the fall, and hopefully kind of some more gatherings around the country. I really, ideally, I've been on both coasts, and I really want to cover, I used to live in Missouri, I want to cover states that I feel as though people don't, I'm going to go back to Joplin, hopefully.
Joplin.
But with that said, it is, thank you again for that question, because it really is word of mouth when it comes to books. And books are, I think it's so fascinating. I think it can be such an ego-focused thing, and that's kind of why, for those of you who don't know, the day the book came out, I wore a sandwich board, which is actually behind
right
us,
there.
around New York City, because I thought,
Then I
the
did
world
too.
doesn't stop when your book comes out. You think it does, I spent 3.5 years working on this book. I'm like, doesn't everybody know? And it's just automatically going to be on the New York Times bestseller list. And it's like, oh, wait a second, And then you learn that my mom is the one who's purchased the most books, which actually I think still is very true. But I've learned it's fascinating. I didn't know this side of the industry where it really is a slow, long game, and the word of mouth. The Today Show is incredible, but I've been able to be doing all these great talking events. But at the end of the day, it's the friend who says, "I actually read something I think you should read," or the woman who recently came up to me and said, "I read your book. I didn't agree with everything, but there was a lot of points that I did, and I love that she was honest about that." And she said, "I gave it to my sister." So it's that to me is the biggest support if it speaks to you, and if it doesn't, I don't want. But I've heard of people sending out emails going, rate the book on Amazon and do all these things, and I just think that needs to come organic from people. But if it calls to you to just mention it to a friend, a sister, or I ask that, to consider that. That would be the biggest thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be awesome, I think.
Yeah.
People, you can read it. I feel like you can read a chapter of the book if you're one of those people
Yeah.
who can read the whole book.
Totally.
But
Yeah.
then you can
Just
engage.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually that was a hope
And
of
it's
mine
like
too.
that. I love that about it. You can go back to sections too.
Yeah.
Like that's what I've been doing, going back and reading certain parts of it, because you can.
Yeah.
It's a great way to.
Piggybacking off that, it would be nice to be reviews a year.
It would be. It would be.
Yeah.
Zoe, would you be up for that?
I would love that. Yeah.
Stacey does love the Norwell Public Library too,
This is
where it began. You said
this is when
your love of books.
When I took my husband here for the first time, I forget what, 2 years ago now, but we were here briefly. The first place I wanted to take him was the Norwell Library. And even though this physical building is different from the one that we all grew up going to,
Yeah.
and but this space is everything. So it's such a meaningful place. Yeah, Laura. It does. It's like the kids area.
Oh,
Thank you.
Is this?
Thank you.
But I love that your book cover was pink, so I think.
Oh, I know.
Irish is wrong, Irish is wrong. But I just wanted to say, when you asked about the Hoffman, it's kind of funny, because that's like, the Hoffman Institute is a big part of
Yeah.
my journey. And I think the Hoffman thing brings you back to your inner child. And
Yes.
when I told my mom that you wrote a book,
Totally.
I was like so excited, because I don't do social media, but I was like, let me get this out. But it was really funny, because growing up here, I said to my mom driving in, there's been when you grow up in a town where the expectations are a certain
Yeah.
way,
True.
a small town, everyone knows your stuff, and like you always knew our stuff, but supported us through the good and the bad. But the funniest thing is, like, my brother who passed away used to always say that you were like something he wanted to bottle up and share. And that's like what we felt. I haven't been back to normal. I think the last time I pulled in here was graduation, and I was good with that. But then you go through that
Yeah.
Queen, right? And it's this remembrance that the tragedies give you
Yeah.
who you are and who you become. And I love that. And the energy you talked about, and really being okay sharing it, because a lot of people don't share those things. I share very openly how my brother passed. I share about him all day. I'm not a tattoo girl. I'm an attorney. I have a tattoo. Like, but it's the most beautiful gift ever. And to come here and see that, like when I told my mom, like my brother, they were like, oh my God. So I just kind of wanted to say that. Like my brother used to always say, like, you were in essence to be bottled up. And it's beautiful to see this and to be, you got me back to Norwell.
Aw.
Yeah.
But that really made me think we have to rethink like that
Yeah.
right? And growing up here, everybody that came into my life was an experience, whether it was good or bad. It shaped who I am.
Yeah.
And it shaped how I go out in the world. And I think you experienced a lot of that with the ups and the downs. So it was just really cool.
Yeah.
And I love that you wore pink. I'm really like, I thought you and Maura were like, that, and you were always like nice to me, like Ryan and them, they were kind of like,
I hope I was too.
you were very nice to me. Maura dated my brother, so we were like, oh, sorry, man. We were like, beads and teeth. We were so excited. There we go.
We are sisters. There's Mike. He could have come.
Well, he was very, very, he's living in Norwell, my parents' house, but this is all like becoming way too personal. Back to the point, you got me in Norwell, I have a friend that I invited.
Oh, thank you.
Anyone
Thank
that
you.
has read your book, they don't know you, they don't know the story, they don't know how you, they
That's
don't
what I
know
loved.
anything about us, and they knew that that was a person that I would have always connected with. So think back to your inner
Thank you.
child, and I'm so jealous. And you were so nice. And
Oh, that was so nice.
I have such big love for you, Laura. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I thank you so much, truly. And I really believe that there's this is not my term. A woman recently said this to me who was interviewing me. She says we're all connected by these invisible threads. And I believe that. We are all connected by these invisible threads, our past lives, our current lives, our future lives, all of us. I think there's one, consciousness, and we can go down that rabbit hole in another way, but we're all connected. And we're also all connected in our shame, in our sadness, and our loss, and our trying to get through the things we're trying to get through. And I love that. I think the other part of this book that has been such a blessing for me, it was a big risk, and another big risk that I took in writing this book, but then also getting out there, is just admitting my shame and admitting where I missed people too, and admitting the things that are so dark and hard to look at too. And we all have that, and it's not easy, but we all have it. And to kind of add to the personal storytelling, but my friend, who Bruce Kelly, was just here, who I hadn't seen in so long, and I hadn't seen him in so long, and he and my brother were really dear friends, and there was shame and loss and guilt and oh my gosh, and ego all involved. And then you just show up and you're like,
He was the first person.
I just love you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I still I think of you, and I see your humanity. And so that's a thing I think for women as we get older. It's like, what can we do to take a risk? And it can be something so big, like leaving a job or leaving a marriage, or it can be something that no one else sees, but it means I'm going to reach out to an old friend I haven't talked to from Norwell forever, and I feel bad about how things ended 30 years ago, and I'm going to reach, whatever it may be, and so that just kind of is conjuring up all these feelings. And then I also will just say too that when I was young, and I remember a couple of times looking at Danny and just feeling really seen. I love him. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. This has been fun. Thank you, guys.